Hello, I'm Jenny Lynch, and this is the Creative Science for Kids podcast.
Hi, I'm Matilda, and today's show is all about mammals that live in the sea.
It's time to take a splash into the sea and get ready for 5 fun and fascinating fast facts about marine mammals. An interview with Dr Vanessa Pirotta, a wildlife scientist who knows a lot about whales, and a warm-blooded blubber activity for you to try yourself at home. Listen up, because here come 5 fun and fascinating fast facts about marine mammals.
Facts number 1. Marine mammals include whales and dolphins, seals and sea lions, dugongs and manatees.
There are 4 groups of sea mammals. The first group is made up of whales, dolphins and porpoises. The second group is the seals, sea lions and walruses. The third group is the manatees and dugongs. And the fourth group includes polar bears and sea otters, which both rely on the sea to survive.
Facts number 2. Marine mammals live most of their lives in the sea, and they have lots of things in common with mammals that live on land.
All mammals have hair or fur, and all mammals are warm-blooded, and all mammals breathe with lungs. Mammals that live on land include humans, dogs, cats, cows, tigers, bears, possums, koalas, and wombats. On land, baby mammals drink milk from their mother. But did you know that baby marine mammals drink milk too? For example, a mother whale swimming underwater makes a thick type of milk that her baby can slurp up by funneling the milk into its mouth using its tongue.
Facts number 3. The biggest marine mammal is the blue whale, and the biggest blue whales are 30 meters long.
If you can imagine 3 full-sized buses lined up end to end, then you can imagine the size of a 30-meter-long blue whale. Scientists are pretty sure that the blue whale is the biggest animal to ever live on Earth, and it's even bigger than the biggest of the known dinosaurs. Blue whales are called baleen whales because instead of teeth, they have baleen plates that hang where their teeth would be. Other baleen whales include humpback whales, right whales, and minke whales. To eat, a baleen whale takes a huge gulp of seawater and uses the baleen to filter out its food. Baleen whales eat tiny sea creatures called krill, as well as small fish and other little sea creatures.
Fact number 4. Toothed whales are smaller than baleen whales, and they include killer whales, sperm whales, porpoises, and dolphins.
Toothed whales have a different diet and different behaviour compared to baleen whales. They use their teeth to catch and eat their prey, and they make very different sounds. While baleen whales use a type of singing to communicate with each other, toothed whales have the special ability to use sound to help find their way around. They use echolocation, making very high-pitched sounds, and those sounds can then bounce off objects in their surroundings and return to the whale. So the whale can create a sort of sound picture of what's around them. They also use sounds to communicate with each other.
Fact number 5. Seals, sea lions, polar bears, and sea otters are excellent swimmers that can also move around on land.
Like most marine mammals, all of these animals are carnivores, so they need to eat other animals to survive. Seals and sea lions are streamlined so they can swim super swiftly through the water to find fish and squid or other sea creatures for their food. Sea otters dive deep down to collect shellfish in their paws, and then they eat their snacks on the surface of the water. Polar bears are the largest type of bear in the world. They live most of their lives on sea ice, and they stalk seals and other animals and pounce on their prey to catch it.
I very much like manatees and dugongs. They are the only marine mammals that are herbivores. They don't eat other animals, they only eat plants, and they feed on seagrass growing at the bottom of the sea.
Some people call dugongs and manatees sea cows because they graze on seagrass like a cow grazes on grass on land. There are thousands of dugongs living off the coast of Australia, and these big, beautiful marine mammals like to live where the water is warm and there's plenty of seagrass to eat. Manatees are a bit bigger than dugongs, and they live in warm sea waters off the coast of Africa, North America, and South America.
Today we have a very special guest who knows a lot about marine mammals. Can you tell us your name and what you do?
My name is Dr Vanessa Pirotta, and I'm a whale scientist, but also a wildlife scientist because my research is in the ocean and also on land, but it's generally focused on the conservation of wildlife using cool tools to try and study them.
Thank you so much for joining us to talk about your research and the wonderful books you've written. How long have you been studying marine mammals?
I've been studying the ocean for many, many years. In fact, I was younger than you when I first fell in love with the ocean on a farm outside of Canberra, which is weird. But as an official scientist, it's been nearly 15 years. So I've seen a lot and I've done a lot, but there's so much more to do and there's so much more to learn about.
Can you tell us a little bit about where you live and work?
While I grew up inland, surrounded by freshwater people and communities, my work is now based very much around saltwater communities, and I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which I'm coming to you today on, and that's the Wongal people. But I work a lot with the Gamay Rangers, who represent Darawal and Bidjigal communities down in Gamay, which is also known as Botany Bay. And this is a fabulous part of the world. There's the Humpback Highway, which is there, dolphins, turtles. It's such a colourful place, and yet it's right smack bang on the doorstep of the Tasman Sea, but our blue backyard, which is right on the doorstep of Sydney Harbour.
My favourite marine mammal friends are dugongs and manatees. Can you tell us a little bit about these beautiful creatures?
Dugongs and manatees are kind of like the mermaids of the sea. When people first saw these animals, which are marine mammals, they thought they were mermaids because they're kind of like, the way I can put it for your listeners if you don't know what a dugong or a manatee is, just think of a really rounded pig of the ocean with no little pig trotters, but a tail that looks like either a dolphin, that's a dugong, or if you're a manatee, your tail's a round kind of half a circle. And these creatures are so cool. In fact, I am so proud to tell you that I have seen a manatee in the wild in the waters of New Caledonia. Now, I thought it would be very quick to see, very easy to see, but it was so quick. It came up, went, and then it just dove down, and I just took a little snap of the tail fluke, which was an amazing thing. But these creatures are incredible, and if you've ever Googled manatees in Florida, sometimes these creatures will come up to people, and you're not meant to swim with them, or in certain paths you're not meant to, and they'll come and hug people. And from a scientist, we need to make sure we keep animals nice and safe, but also from a human being, I mean, that is an amazing thing to see. So good choice of animal. I like them too.
Is it true that you've done experiments with whale snot?
I'm not joking, yes. So whale snot is that visible plume of spray that you can see when a whale comes up and takes a breath. And ready for this, because this is a podcast. It sounds like this. You ready? And when they do that, they take a breath of fresh air and get rid of what's in their lungs. And that comes with bacteria, viruses, skin cells, all these juicy information that we can collect on a petri dish on a drone without the whale even knowing about it. And this is so cool. Whale snot research is one of the coolest things I've ever done in my whaley career. And hopefully we get to share some more exciting news very soon with you. So it's a great way of us being kind of like a vet on the ocean without having to have an animal come into your vet practice, because I don't think an animal the size of a school bus could fit through the vet door.
You've also written books about whales and other sea creatures. Can you tell us about your books?
I love books, and I'm so happy that you enjoy books as well, so thank you. Well, I've written 2 children's books and an adult's book, or a hybrid for teenagers and big kids. And my children's books are focused on the marine environment. So we've got The Voyage of Whale and Calf, which is a beautiful visual story of what happens in 1 year, or the year in the life of a humpback whale calf, because the babies only stay together with their mums for only a year and then they head off. It's an amazing thing for a humpback whale calf to just leave its mum after that age. So that talks about that. And then I have Oceans at Night, because what I wanted to do is I really wanted to capture what happens in the ocean when we're asleep at nighttime, so that you can think about all these amazing things that happen when you're maybe nodding off to bed, and you can go, wow, I'm about to go to sleep, but all these creatures in the ocean are about to come alive doing incredible things. And then finally, Humpback Highway, which is basically the voyage of whale and calf, but in a big book, and it tells those big kids what they need to know about whales and how to keep them safe.
What can people do to help protect endangered marine mammals?
I think the question could almost be, what can anyone do to help ensure our marine environment is safe for all the animals in the ocean. And the reason I say that is because when we go to protect one animal, we must also think about how we're protecting the rest of the earth and the ocean. So one of the simplest things you listening to this podcast can do is think about your actions on land. So if you're in the school playground, something as simple as picking up your rubbish and putting it in the bin. I know that sounds very, very simple, but it has to be that simple. Another big one is please don't release your balloons up into the air, because what goes up comes down. And then finally, have a conversation about how to keep the ocean and marine mammals safe with your teachers, your guardians, and your friends, because the more we talk about it, the more aware people will be.
Dr. Vanessa Pirotta, thank you so much for being a special guest on the Creative Science for Kids podcast.
Thank you. You are absolutely welcome. And I hope all your listeners learnt a lot with me.
If you'd like to find out more about Dr. Vanessa Pirotta, including her books about whales and other sea creatures, you can visit her website, vanessapirotta.com, and we'll include the link in the show description, along with the titles of Dr. Pirotta's books, The Voyage of Whale and Calf, Oceans at Night, and Humpback Highway. Marine mammals have lots of special adaptations to help them survive in the sea. One of these adaptations is whale blubber, which is a layer of fat that keeps warm-blooded whales warm in cold ocean water.
You can test out how whale blubber works for yourself. Make sure you tell an adult what you're doing first and check you have their permission. You'll need a bowl, cold water from the fridge, ice cubes, 2 disposable gloves, a spoon, and some soft butter or margarine. If you don't have any disposable gloves, try using 2 small plastic bags instead. This activity is pretty messy, so do it next to a sink with soap and warm water ready for washing your hands at the end.
Fill the bowl with cold water and add some ice cubes to the water to make it really cold. Scoop 2 big spoonfuls of soft butter or margarine into one of the disposable gloves and squeeze the butter or margarine down into the fingers of the glove, pushing any air bubbles out of the fingers. Put the other glove on one hand first. Now put the glove filled with butter or margarine on your other hand and make sure your fingers are covered with the butter or margarine. Carefully place the fingers of both of your hands into the ice-cold water.
Try to keep your fingers in the water for at least 2 minutes, but take them out of the water if they feel too cold. What do you notice?
Your buttery fingers should last longer in the water because the butter is protecting your fingers from the icy cold water. Heat energy always moves from a warm object to a colder object, and the butter is acting as an insulator because it slows down the movement of heat energy out of your fingers. A lot of cold climate animals have blubber. Seals, whales, and polar bears all have a layer of blubber to stop them losing too much heat from their bodies. Well, we've had a whale of a time with marine mammals, but now it's time to go. Thanks for listening, and remember to stay curious.
The Creative Science for Kids podcast was recorded on the traditional lands of the Bidjigal people. To find out more about Creative Science Australia, including entertaining live science shows for preschools and primary schools in Sydney, visit creativescience.com.au.